So in this video we'll see how you can execute two API calls parallelly. So to understand the scenario, assume that you have two API calls being made on this page. So this page, I have a basic HTML which on load calls the init function. So currently it's fetching one API, which is this users API. It's awaiting the call, getting the response, and we are logging it out. Let's say I have to make one more API call. I'll just copy this thing, put it here. Responsible stream 1. This time it will be posts, and response stream posts, response posts, right? Now it's calling two APIs, getting the response, and we are logging it to the console. Refresh the page. You can see response from the API, response from the post. So two network calls are being done here, right? So you can see, I'll show you in a bit more detail. I'll just refresh the page once again. You can see two API calls being made. Now if I go to the network console, you can see two API calls, right? Which are two API calls. Now if I click on the first one, you can see this is the execution of the first call, and then once first is done, then second one is executed, right? Now in this case, these two API calls are independent of each other. That means the response of one call is not dependent on the response of the other call, right? So in such a case, these two APIs can be executed in parallel, and that will save the execution time, right? So here if you see, the total time which is being taken is around 1000 and 1200, right? So in total, if you see the execution time, it took 1200, close to 1200 milliseconds, right? It won't take this much if both are run in parallel. For that, let's see how you can do that. For that, I'll do one thing. I'll just move this thing out. We won't be using await here for that, and we'll just keep it fetch response stream users, right? And I'll just remove this thing from here. Similarly here also, and I'll remove await from here. Response stream posts, and what we'll do is we'll use Promise.all. So that this fetch thing, it returns a promise, right? So we'll use const users response comma posts response, which will be Promise.all, and inside we'll pass in both these promises, which is response stream post users and response stream posts. So now once this is executed, it should be fine. We'll just response.promise. So now this also returns a promise. So I'll just try logging this thing. You can see console.log user response. Just paste it here. We'll just save this thing, run it again, and refresh the page, and let's see the output. I'll go to console and I'll refresh the page. Object is not iterable property. Okay. Now as you saw here, and also we'll add a then callback here. Then so what this thing will do is it it will transform or read the readable stream here. So it will be res.json. The same thing can be copied from here and moved here. Set the then block. Right. Now once this is done, so what this thing does is it runs these two calls in parallel. So I'll just refresh the screen. I'll just run this once again. I'll just log the both response. Post response. Post response. Once this is saved, we'll just run or refresh the page once again. Once you refresh the page, you can see both the API calls, they ran the same time, right? Kind of same time. They started execution the same time, and one finished a bit more. It took less than what we was taking earlier, and you can see in the console the response also. Right, so this way you can save, or like you can run the two API calls in parallel, which are independent of each other, and that also saves the execution time. We'll just run this once again and check the execution time once again. You can see it ran once again. The time taken, like both the calls ran in parallel, right? Not like one after the other. So this is how you can run fetch two API calls in parallel using Promise.all. So I hope you find this video useful. Do let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching.